This newscast is brought to you by Qberg, Pittsburgh's source for LGBTQ plus news and community information. To learn more about Qberg, visit their website at qberg.com. That's QBURGH.com. From the PEP Radio Newsroom, these are the stories we are covering at this hour. President Donald Trump launched a trade war Tuesday against America's three biggest trading partners, drawing immediate retaliation from Mexico, Canada, and China, and sending financial markets into a tailspin as the U.S. faced the threat of rekindled inflation and paralyzing uncertainty for business. Just after midnight, Trump imposed 25% taxes or tariffs on Mexican and Canadian imports, though he limited the levy to 10% on Canadian energy. Trump also doubled the tariff he slapped last month on Chinese products to 20%. Beijing retaliated with tariffs up to 15% on a wide array of U.S. farm exports. It also expanded the number of U.S. companies subject to export controls and other restrictions by about 24. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau said his country would plaster tariffs on more than $100 billion of American goods over the course of 21 days. Today, the United States launched a trade war against Canada, their closest partner and ally, their closest friend. At the same time, they are talking about working positively with Russia, appeasing Vladimir Putin, a lying, murderous dictator. Make that make sense, Trudeau said. Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum said Mexico will respond to the new taxes with its own retaliatory tariffs. Sheinbaum said she will announce the products Mexico will target on Sunday in a public event in Mexico City's Central Plaza, perhaps with a delay indicating Mexico still hopes to de-escalate the trade war set off by Trump. As she promised voters, the U.S. president is abandoning the free trade policies the United States pursued for decades after World War II. Trump argues that open trade cost America millions of factory jobs and that the tariffs are the path to national prosperity. He rejects mainstream economists who contend that such protectionism is costly and inefficient. Import taxes are a very powerful weapon that politicians haven't used because they were either dishonest, stupid, or paid off in some other form, Trump said Monday at the White House, and now we're using them. The trade war, however, is pushing the stock markets into a tailspin as the Dow Jones Industrial Average is down over 500 points as of 1:15 p.m. Stocks were down, incidentally, yesterday by over 600 points. So that's an 1,100-point drop in 2 days. Way to go, Donnie. Way to go. In other news, House Senator Tammy Baldwin, Democrat from Wisconsin, tore Donald Trump apart for saying that he wouldn't be cutting the three biggest federal programs, Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid, immediately before he demanded Congress cut nearly $1 trillion from Medicaid's budget. Trump, a little over a week ago, said on Fox News, "I'm not touching Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid." And he said it multiple times, she said on MSNBC. The next morning, he endorsed the Republican House budget, which calls for nearly $1 trillion in cuts to Medicaid. Baldwin then stressed that 8 million seniors get support for nursing home care from Medicaid and that a third of children get their health care coverage through Medicaid. Trump and his top campaign donor, Elon Musk, have been trying to make significant cuts to federal spending, but they have mostly focused on minuscule portions of the federal budget, like foreign aid and subscriptions to newspapers. Meanwhile, about half of federal spending goes to health insurance programs, Medicare, Medicaid, CHIP, and the Affordable Care Act, or Social Security, according to the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities. The military, interest on the debt, benefits for veterans and federal retirees, education, and economic security programs make up most of the rest of the federal budget. Social Security won't be touched other than this fraud or something we're going to find, Trump said late last month. It's going to be strengthened, but won't be touched. Medicare, Medicaid, none of that stuff is going to be touched. The very next morning, Trump posted to social media that he supports House Republicans' budget plan without question. I stress, without question. That budget plan calls for $180 billion in cuts from programs overseen by the House Energy and Commerce Committee, the committee that manages Medicaid spending. The budget proposal contains $4.5 trillion in tax cuts, mostly for wealthy people. Donnie, can it? That's the news at this hour. And if you're watching our videos on YouTube, please click the subscribe button and follow along. Be sure to download the Live 365 app to take PEP Radio with you wherever you go. Now back to more music here on PEP Radio.